Hello, this is Julia from Mind You, and it's just a very brief video to summarize a few things I recently learned at an event in Los Angeles run by Mindvalley. You know by now that I'm a massive fan of Mindvalley. Go check it out. It holds incredible inspiration, and this is why I'm doing this video for you. I spent 3 days in a room filled with people who are all soaking up information from the speakers on stage. And because you were not with me there, I thought I'd give you a brief summary of my notes. So there were a few speakers which stood out to me. One was Tom Bewley. He's from Impact Theory. So go check it out in the comments and in my notes. How to find him. Impact Theory, Tom Bewley, massively, incredibly successful guy, interviewing people and voicing his opinions and learnings. What he said is, it's really about one big question, and that is, who do you want to become? And also, what is the price you're ready to pay to get there? That was massively interesting, and just take this question with you. And there is so much in that where you allow yourself to really introflect, like look inside of you and find out what is it about yourself. And so then the other one is, so he talked about who do you choose to be? It's all based on beliefs and values. And the next person I want to mention is Dr. Shravali Savari. She is a delight to see and see in action. There is lots of interviews out there on YouTube. She's a go-to person from Oprah Winfrey, and she promotes conscious parenting. And it was really interesting, and not only for me as a parent, but also others who said they're not parents, what they took away from how they are as a child towards their parents. And that was highly interesting. And she reflected and contemplated upon that question where children get asked, what do you want to become when you are older? And isn't it interesting, we all have heard that question, or we might have asked that question. And she basically says, we are told to become someone. That's the message we imply with that question. And really we are already. We are already the person who we want to become and who we see in the future. We just need to be that person and step into that person. There was an element of her talk which struck me, because she said everything we do is actually happening in this kind of matrix. We are living in a world of choice, but are we really? Look around. Most decisions, most choices are already made for us. And only when we break free from that matrix are we really free. So what that means is that even when we go for a manicure, she said, we can choose the color, can't we? But the colors are already chosen for us in the first place. When we go to the supermarket, we have choice, but we're only choosing from what's already in there. So just become aware in your life, that's what she says, about the choices you make and what they are based on. And what you want to do is question that matrix, to step out of it. It is a decision to leave the matrix, to be free and to find new ways of going forward, so that we're not just following what's done for us. She says, even when changing clothes, you first have to be naked. Oh, so that was really good. She says, already dying since the day we are born, which has obviously some potential to reflect on. Then there was a massively interesting person called Jim Kwik. He is the boy with a broken brain. He uses his superpowers of memorizing, learning quickly, speed reading, and to inspire and teach not only Hollywood stars to remember their scripts, but also everyone. So everyone can take his quests, and his podcast is interesting. He puts so much content out there, and his talk was filled with lots of content as well. He says all learning is state dependent. When we are inspired and when we are active for something, we do learn better. So that's what he says. Get yourself into a place of receptiveness when you want to learn. Otherwise, it's just playing along with you and you won't remember it. He gave really good advice on how to read and how to take notes. So what he said is, let me find this. When you take notes, you want to have your page lined in the middle with a line down. So the left side is there for taking notes and the right side is to make notes. So the left side is taking notes for capturing what's said, and the right side is for creating notes. And he has a very special focus on that, where he says he asks himself questions for the content he is listening to, for then to make his own notes under the following questions. How can I use it? Why must I use this? And when will I use this? So really specific, down on paper, and that's how you take how he takes notes. He wants to see the success formula as head, heart, and hand. Your eyes, your inspiration, and what you do. So your head, your heart, and your hand. Your eyes are seeing, your inspiration is your heart telling you where to go, and what to do is then your hand and taking action. And those need to be integrated. Yay! Mental hygiene for him is reading 1 book a day. 1 book a day! Wouldn't that be great? He said something really great. Write this down now, and this is on your left side of the page if you're taking notes. First, you create the habits, and then the habits create you, right? So he's talking about so many things there. He's talking about journaling in the morning. He's talking about a gratitude list. He's talking about a healthy brain tea he produces for himself in the morning. And you can check this out on his channel. So get him into the state of learning for the whole day. So he says, reasons reap results. We gotta know why we do stuff. And geniuses, they leave clues. When we look at people, what they're doing, we find out how they're doing it. They're not there by accident, and they got there for a reason. He mentioned a book, 2 books, which everyone should read, and the list could be long, but he mentioned Simon Sinek, Start with a Why, and 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. So that's what he said. He also said, if failure is not an option, neither is success. Okay. Another good one is, we are drowning in information, but starving inspiration. Okay, so that depends obviously on people, what they are watching and what they are confronting themselves with. Great, so there was a lot in his talk. We also had Eric at Meads from WildFit, and that's always a treat. He talked about the evolution gap. He talked about mother guilt, where it's an innate reason why women and mums feel so guilty when they leave their child behind, for instance, in childcare, because as we were growing up, and our ancestors, when they left their children, they were in danger. So we feel that still inside of us when we leave our child somewhere. It doesn't feel right. So even sitting outside in the car next to the nursery, waiting for them to be finished, feels better than leaving them and driving a lot of miles or kilometers away from them. So this is a state of being when once we become aware of it, we can actually get ourselves into a rational thinking mode and thinking, okay, they're not in danger, they are in a good place. But that feeling which we've got, that guilt, He explained that really well and said it's just there because that's how it was millions of years ago. Okay, another great one, Shetty. Shetty entered the stage together with Vishen Lakiani, and they had a good conversation, question and answer style. Shetty is a personality you can also check out on YouTube. Growing audience. He used to be a monk for 3 years and always returns to that every year for a few weeks just to ground himself again and to be still. He talked a lot about finding your daily rituals, refining your intentions. He says daily he looks at his seeds and his weeds. So the seeds are the ones he wants to obviously grow in his life, he wants to bring into his life, and that's the ones who he wants to water. There is also weeds in his self, and he calls that the ego, meaning he wants to make sure what is he actually doing. So is it the ego, the pride, the competition, the joy he gets from that, saying maybe another 100,000 followers on his channel, that's ego and pride, so he wants to pay attention to that. And or is he driven by compassion and meaning and service, which would be the seeds. He is a fan of a 12-month plan. He himself can't plan further ahead, that's what he said. And he talked about his belief that he goes 3 steps forward, but it also means 3 steps deeper. That's how he wants to see himself progressing. And he talks about an immersion technique, deep experiences. If we always skim along the surface with stuff, we really don't get to the deep stuff. When we want to experience something on a depth, on a deep level, it's best to immerse yourself. So hence he goes back to the monk place and stays with them for a while. So there you go. That was Shetty, and he was really good. And we can all learn from that. Obviously, there was lots of connections made during these 3 days, and more with a few pictures underneath this. Bye for now.